In the last lecture, I shared with you that happiness and well-being are inside out, not outside in. Another way of saying this is that happiness remains elusive until we get that it has less to do with out here and more to do with in here. It's more about a place we come from, not a place we're trying to get to. Once we understand this principle, or I would even consider it a law of the universe, we can use what is out here to support us in our happiness. So in this lecture, I want to talk about two places we can live from. Neither of these places is real. They're really mindsets, but mindsets which I think are very powerful and around which we can organize our understanding of the world and experience of life. And by the way, when I'm teaching this to a group of people, I like to move to one part of the stage and draw an imaginary circle, and then I move to another part of the stage and I draw another imaginary circle. Imagine me doing this, and I step into the first circle and call it scarcity. Scarcity is a mental paradigm or mindset in which we focus, usually quite unconsciously, on what's wrong with our lives, what we don't have, what's missing, how life is never enough, how other people need to change, how I'm not enough. This mindset puts us in a place of continual fear and anxiety and insecurity, which impels us to believe that happiness and well-being are out there, just around the corner, if we could get circumstances or if we could get other people to be different. There are really two forms of scarcity. One is flight. In flight, we seek to protect ourselves from an unsafe world by retreating into a comfort zone or a cocoon in which we feel safe. The second is fight, in which we become more assertive and aggressive and seek to win at life by achieving more and accumulating more of whatever we've told ourselves we need to feel okay. More performance, more money, more stuff, more power, more status, more popularity. When living in scarcity, life is like a roller coaster, up and down, in which we feel good when we win and perform well, but unsafe when things don't go our way. But up or down, we feel this never-ending anxiety and frustration, disappointment, worry, doubt, blame, deficiency, inadequacy about what is wrong or what could go wrong in our lives. Life feels hard, like a continual hassle. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Well, scarcity has a strong gravitational pull. Our minds are drawn back here again and again. And I believe there are three reasons this is true. First, the primitive mind evolved to protect us from harm. It's continually vigilant, attuned to problems and threats and what might go wrong. It's like we're hardwired to see the negative. Second, it seems so logical and natural to believe that happiness is outside in, that if factors outside us were different, we could feel better and more secure. We build that case. If I made more money, if my boss would listen, if only I lived in a better neighborhood. And third, it's so easy to see our own weaknesses and inadequacies and thereby form false beliefs about ourselves, which lead us to feel dissatisfied, depressed, and not enough. Because we feel inadequate about ourselves, we project this onto the rest of the world. Well, scarcity is suffering. It's not a fun way to live, but a way many live. So now let me step into the other circle. I call this abundance. Abundance is a recognition of what is right about life. It's a mindset in which we see the goodness, mercies, affluence, and fullness of our lives. It's seeing what is rather than what is not, what I have rather than what I lack, who I am rather than who I am not. It's not naivete, it's not a presumption that life is easy and has no difficulties. However, it is a recognition that goodness and love are present or available in each moment of life. It means that I know I have the strength and the power to deal with whatever life dishes up. We feel more positive than negative in abundance. We feel gratitude and security, well-being, even awe, confidence, hope, trust, ease, acceptance, and adequacy. Certainly, when living from abundance, bad things happen and we'll experience negative emotions. However, these events don't move us out of the paradigm of abundance. We experience the bad and feel the negative emotion, and yet maintain our trust in the good, and particularly in our own adequacy, We see ourselves as good enough, even though we recognize that we have weaknesses and make plenty of mistakes. Well, this faith in ourselves allows us to experience all of life as basically good and overall friendly. I'm going to suggest that happiness has a lot to do with which of these two places we decide to call home. Will you live primarily from scarcity or from abundance? Moment by moment, you make this choice. The good news is you don't need to wait until you've achieved more, accumulated more wealth, status, power. You don't have to wait until you've overcome all of your weaknesses in order to make this decision. Nor do you need to wait for other people to change or for some future event or set of circumstances. Abundance is a place you can come from, not a place you're striving to get to. It's a state of mind, even grace, that's available to you today if you're ready to claim it. Think of it a little bit as a tuner on a radio dial. At any moment, you can tune into whichever station you choose. If you want, you can tune the dial on your tuner into scarcity and see everything that's wrong about life. And again, find plenty of evidence to justify this point of view. Or on the other hand, you can tune that dial into the abundance station and see what's good about life. There's also plenty of evidence to justify this point of view. I have to tell you a little bit of personal sharing. We had a family reunion with our children and grandchildren last summer, just outside of Yellowstone National Park. We talked about this concept. We asked our grandchildren to make some statements from a scarcity mindset like, what I hate about school, and then change their thinking to an abundance mindset like what I love about school and what I love about my family and what I love about where I live. We use the analogy that it's like being inside of a house and looking out a different window. So we moved to a window at the back of the house and I asked them, hey guys, what do you see? And then we went to the front of the house. What do you see? What we see depends on the window we look out, right? Yeah. So we encouraged each of them to catch themselves in scarcity thinking and flip it as we went about our travels each day. One granddaughter shared, I had to go to the bathroom in an outdoor toilet. But then she caught herself and said, it sure was nice to find a toilet. A son-in-law got pulled over for speeding. His first reaction was, the only time I sped all day. I was just trying to catch up to my brother-in-law. He caught himself. And then he said, boy, I'm sure glad it was me and not my brother-in-law. They'd have had looked at his driving record and charged him a hefty fine. So what is most important is not so much what is happening out there, but a decision I make on the inside. So I invite you, try on this paradigm of abundance. Practice it. You won't come from it all the time. But as you increase your awareness, you can make that choice more and more frequently. And by the way, this theme about scarcity and abundance will be recurring throughout the rest of this program. My purpose is to talk about it from different angles and by so doing give you the understanding and tools to create abundance in your own mind rather than living from scarcity.